Little but mighty!
Hi everyone, my name is Miss Genevieve and I'm an English teacher at Little But Mighty. Today, I'll be sharing 3 creative strategies that you can use to help you craft your conclusion. Let's get started, shall we? Before I introduce the 3 strategies, let's define what a good conclusion is. A good conclusion should leave your readers intrigued, entertained, and informed. By ending your story well, your readers get a sense that the problem is solved thoughtfully and credibly. The resolution or conclusion should serve to wrap up your story, provide a resolution to the conflict, inform the reader of any changes in the character, show how you have addressed the topic. I have included point 4 because it is important to remember that when you are writing a composition in the exams, you'll need to do this too. An easy way to craft a conclusion is to include a reflection in your story. You can consider using this technique if your character decides that a change in impression, behavior, or attitude is necessary, reflects on their mistakes, or learns a valuable lesson. To do this well, make sure that you describe your character's thoughts and feelings vividly. Now, let's take a look at an example to show you what I mean. Let's say the topic is a dare. Your main character realized that it was foolish of him to accept the challenge posed by his friends. As a result, he performed the dare and nearly drowned. You can describe his thoughts and feelings about the situation. To develop a meaningful reflection, use these guiding questions to help you in your conclusion. Number 1. How has the incident changed your main character's impression of his actions in the story? Number 2, what promises or decisions did your character make to avoid such incidents in future? Number 3, how did your character feel after the incident? Let's look at an example that fleshes out these points. After that fateful incident, swimming in the Cerulean Sea was never the same again. I made a silent vow never to throw caution to the wind and accept a foolhardy challenge for the sake of friendship. Filled with immense regret, I decided never to risk my life just to gain acceptance from my peers. The second strategy is what we call words of wisdom or wow. If the topic requires you to discuss an important value like teamwork, courage, or honesty, you can try including a saying or proverb in your conclusion. When your main character comes to realize an important value or moral after going through the incidents that have been covered in your story, you can consider applying this strategy. Now, before I move on to the example, it's important to note that the saying or proverb that you choose should be closely connected to the topic. Now, I'll share a different topic to explain this technique. Now, let's take a look at the second example. If the topic is a dishonest act, and the problem in your story was how your main character was caught red-handed for shoplifting, you can discuss the valuable lesson of honesty. To elaborate on the words of wisdom that you have shared, you can consider using these guiding questions to help you in your conclusion. Number 1, what is the important value that your main character has learned? Number 2, why is this value important to uphold? And number 3, how has this incident affected your main character's future actions? Let me show you an example that fleshes out the 3 guiding questions. At the end of the day, the shopkeeper was right. Honesty is the best policy. Stealing from someone will not only tarnish my reputation, but also leave my conscience tainted with guilt. The act of triggering the blaring alarm and having to answer for my dishonest deed continues to haunt me even to this day. This valuable lesson on integrity will be indelibly etched in my mind forever. That was pretty easy, wasn't it? Now, let's look at the third strategy. If you have started your story with a flashback, you'll probably want to pay attention to this technique. To wrap up your character's journey to the past, you have to bring your character back into the present moment. Let's take a look at another example to show you what I mean. If the topic is a painful loss, and the problem in your story was how your main character had to give up something he treasured, like a watch, to pay for his father's medical bills, you can use this technique to make a reference to the beginning. For the third technique, you can consider using these guiding questions to help you guide your main character back into the present moment. Number 1, What triggered your character to come back into the present moment? Usually this can take the form of a voice from a different character or a sound. Number 2, what was the painful loss? Number 3, was the sacrifice worth it? Why? With those guiding questions, I'm now going to share an example. Knock knock. I was jolted out of my nostalgia. Andy, are you ready for dinner? Father exclaimed, greeting me with a warm smile. Immediately, I ran into his arms and wrapped him in a tight embrace. Although giving up my precious watch was a difficult sacrifice, I know that the fond memories of my late mother could not be contained in a single object. Deep down, I knew that my mother would have affirmed my decision, for she would rather it help my father and me to have a better life. I hope you found these techniques useful. In summary, these 3 techniques help to show, firstly, why the topic was important to your main character, secondly, how the topic impacted them, and lastly, wraps up the story of the problem nicely. Remember, whichever technique you decide to choose, it's always important to reiterate the topic in your conclusion. This will help to show the examiner that you've tried to address the topic and thought deeply about it. Alright, so for more grammar and storytelling tips, please check out the other videos on our YouTube channel. I'll see you soon. Take care. If you've been enjoying the content on our YouTube channel, do remember to like and subscribe.